Hi, it's David here from Elevate Founders. One of the questions that was posed to us recently was, why is emotional intelligence important at this time? Now, with all the pressures on businesses and business leaders at the time in growing businesses, sometimes contracting businesses as well, with the COVID stuff, nobody's really certain as to what's happening and when it's going to happen and the effect that's happening, and furloughed staff and all these kind of other pressures. Why is now a time that someone should even be thinking about looking at emotional intelligence? Well, here's why. Because emotional intelligence is so intrinsically linked to success. It is a really, really good predictor of people's success later in life, far more than intellectual intelligence. And emotional intelligence isn't static. It changes quite a lot through experiences, through learning, through growing. It can go up, and some areas it can regress as well through certain things that could happen in life. And for a lot of people during this fairly stressful time, that might be really good stress of companies that are expanding, possibly more likely that companies are sort of facing challenges of cash flow and customers and when they can get back to doing normal business, that a lot of the time under stress people's behaviour kind of changes. One of the reasons that I think is really important now for business owners to be thinking about and business leaders to be thinking about emotional intelligence is that it's so fundamentally geared towards our success. Now, under pressure people do funny things. We all do it. We all go back to past learned behaviours. And some of those behaviours might be really good. Often the brain puts them in as a survival mechanism to really help us and get past a certain challenge. But sometimes those behaviours don't actually really help us, perhaps going forward or a different situation. Our brain kind of likens it to something else and behaves accordingly. And why emotional intelligence development is crucial now, and why quite a few of our clients have been doing the emotional intelligence profiles now, is that it gives us a really good insight into what people do under pressure, some of the blind spots that they might have, some of the things to avoid doing or avoid the consequences of. So for example, under pressure, so normal business, some people work really well interdependently, really well with their team, communicate really effectively, and some of those people under pressure become far more independent in how they work. So they take on more responsibility on themselves, and lots of business owners I do that. They take on more, they do more. It disempowers their team. It means they're working more, they're getting more stressed. That's having an adverse effect on them and their performance, which means that they think they need to do more, and the whole thing kind of unravels a little bit. So that's one area. Another area is that fundamentally the core level of emotional intelligence is how we work. How in tune are we with our emotions, and how conscious are we of how they're driving our decisions and our day-to-day behaviours. And it's not just within ourselves, that's a really important thing, is that often has a huge effect on those around us as well. For example, if somebody's really stressed, and they might think on the surface they're not that stressed or they're managing it really well. Well, it might be they're not, and conversations they're having with people, there's a very different tone or very different emphasis, there's an urgency, and that stress is kind of leaking out, a little bit like a domino, that it hits one and that kind of can ripple through a company of stress or anxiety or whatever it is. And that's going to have a very negative effect. In my experience, it does have a negative effect in terms of businesses and teams and how well people work together. So that's just some important things to be mindful of at this time. So what do we do about it? Well, number one, start checking in with yourself. In an extreme case, you might want to take a little diary of emotions. So how are you measuring your emotions? How are your emotions affecting your day-to-day work and day-to-day productivity and emotions that are driving our decisions? How often a day do you feel stressed or tired or demotivated or bored or angry or whatever? And likewise the positive ones as well. How much time do you feel energized and happy and excited and motivated? And finding out, kind of getting to a little bit more of those root things. So that would be a really good thing just to do first of all, just to kind of check in on that, become more emotionally aware of what we're doing, and also the impact that has on those around us. I would never say to a client, go to a key sales meeting or a key business meeting if you're feeling really stressed or worn down or tired or frustrated or angry or anything. That's never really helped anything I've found in business. The second thing you might want to do is do an emotional intelligence profile. Look at some of the blind spots that you might have, some of the things that you haven't sort of thought about or haven't looked at, and how that could be inhibiting your performance. Do get in touch. Go to our website, you can fill in a form, and we'll reach out to you and arrange a conversation. But that can be a really easy way of just understanding yourself better, understanding where your pitfalls are, and really growing as a leader. And that's what we should be doing in our businesses. So I hope this is helpful. I hope you understood a little bit more about why emotional intelligence is important at this time, and why it's something that I believe that business owners should really be investing into and really thinking about, because it is so key at any time, but particularly during this time of high stress and uncertainty for many. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.